is our team. And I will just begin by letting everybody introduce themselves. We have Tim Snow, Hannah Barras, and Sean Smith. And so, Tim, if you will go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Well, Zan, it's great to be here today. And I'm so excited about this time that we're going to spend together along with our homeschool families and our homeschool community out there. I've been here at Press Digital, which is where these videos are made, for 10 years now. And I started out as a teacher. I taught 4 different classes. Some of the folks may have seen me in those classes. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, they moved me into management. And you might think, oh boy, management. But no, I have a lot of fun doing that as well. And I get to touch many more courses along the way. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. Hannah.
I'm Hannah Bowers, and I have been here at Press Digital for about 6 years now. And I started out as a teacher assistant. I helped Cynthia Bullock with many of her secondary history classes that she has done. I had so much fun working with her, making PowerPoints and doing paperwork and things like that. So I wrote a lot of the quizzes and tests. So if your students don't care for those, that's okay. They can blame me for those classes. And then currently, though, I am the video production manager. So I work with all the people who film the videos and make the special segments. And it is so much fun seeing things go from an idea at the very beginning to then come to life in this beautiful presentation that is used in the videos, and then the videos go out themselves for you guys to enjoy and to learn. Plus, I also get to give Tim a hard time as his co-manager, so we have a lot of fun together.
And that's great. It's so good to have a team that loves to work together and has that kind of synergy. Okay, Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name is Sean Smith, and I am excited to be with you today. Homeschool moms are my favorite people in the world, so I just feel like I'm right at home with you. I homeschooled for 22 years. I homeschooled all 3 of my girls all the way through from pre-kindergarten to high school. And after my homeschool years were done, I joined the press, and I started out in curriculum support, which was those of you who called in with questions. I was one of the people answering on the other end of the line. And then I also worked as a teacher assistant, doing exactly what Hannah just described. And most recently, I have moved into instructional design, where I get to start on the other side of the course and help with planning and mapping it out and making the design work for our homeschool families.
Well, that's great. It is good to have all 3 of you. We've had so many comments already from our listeners. One is these videos have saved their homeschool life. So thank you so much for what you've contributed. Tim, there was one who said their boys loved English 6 with Mr. Snow. So they've been around for a few years. And so tell us, Tim, tell us how long BJU Press has been involved in producing video courses.
Well, we have been producing, actually, as of this year, for 25 years. We've been producing videos of one kind or another. But our history with helping homeschool families goes back so much farther than that. Back in 1982, BJU Press received its first phone call from a homeschooling mom who just needed material. She needed textbooks back in those days. And the idea of videos hadn't even come around, but we began to go down that road in helping so many homeschoolers and the thousands of people that we've helped over the years. We are so glad that we played a part in the education of their children. But then about 1997 is really when we first started doing some videos. And that was when it was called HomeSat. A few people might remember that, but that was 25 years ago. And so probably most of our students today wouldn't remember back to that. Maybe their parents do if they were homeschooled with us. And we actually broadcast live classes at that time. Then in 2003, we began to put out DVDs, and our courses were put onto DVD. And then a brand new thing in 2009, we started with online lessons. And those of you that know DLO, that has been our staple for several years, and it's been growing by leaps and bounds. There's so much more that we can do online in some cases than we do on DVD. And then, of course, as of this year, our 25th year of doing videos, in 2022, we're introducing the Hub, which is a whole new experience and a new platform for our courses.
The Hub we're going to be talking about a lot this week, and there are threads and presentations that will be in the party. So make sure if you're interested in the Hub, it's just painless planning is the way I like to say it. And so without going into too much detail now, make sure you visit the threads in the party and some of the presentations to learn more about that. I have one of our audience members, one of our moms, said that her son loves the puppets. So I don't want to spoil too much, but you might want to stay tuned because I think one of the puppets may be making a special appearance today. All right, so when I think about the BJU video courses, I think about three things: quality, innovation, and products that were made especially for homeschoolers. And to me, as a homeschool mom, that's so important because that's so much more effective than having an instructor up there teaching a whole class with kids asking questions that aren't necessarily pertinent to my child's questions. So I was also really shocked as I've come back on board with the BJU Press Homeschooling and the family in the last 3 or 4 years to find out just how many people and how much time goes into the production of each video, which I think should give so much comfort to the people who need the extra help with the teaching. So if someone could address for us how much time goes into the production process and tell us a little bit about it, that would be great.
Well, I can answer that question for you. And, really when it comes down to it, what we do here at Press Digital is not quite like any place else. There are those that record lessons. You can find some of those on YouTube and different places. Different companies have that. But what we do here in putting a whole course together is something that really is unique. And it does take a lot of effort and a lot of people to make that into a reality, to make it a quality course, to make it an innovative course, and one that will help homeschooling families. To help out with that, let me show you. I brought an apple with me. And this apple can kind of represent what we do here. If you think of our courses, what you see is the outside, that shiny surface. And we hope that that course has been just that for you. But what goes on to make that a nice apple takes place, just like growing an apple, takes place over almost a year's time. And as we come together, we have about 80 people in our building that come together and work on a course. And so it starts with, there's a core team on the inside that's made up of a teacher, that's made up of a teacher's assistant, and then there's also a video specialist. And those people work together to form that core structure. They're joined by instructional designers, they're joined by project coordinators, and a host of other support people that really come into the picture and help that come together. If you take our courses, there's probably at least 20 people on any one course. And sometimes, most of the time actually, there's a whole lot more than just that. And so what we're trying to do in all of that, even proofreaders, quality control specialists, we're trying to keep those worms out of the apple that you have that as a course. And we want a wonderful course for you that will not only teach your young people, your students, but will be an enjoyable course for them to take.
Thank you, Tim. That is awesome. I want to turn. I want to turn and ask Sean a question now. Sean, you have filled various a number of those roles that Tim just discussed since you've been at BJU Press. I wondered how your 22 years of homeschooling has impacted the way you do your job and what you do with the video courses.
Sure. Yeah. It completely dictates some of the things that I do. I'm always thinking of the homeschool family when I approach any project I'm given, and I'm always wondering how can I make it better for what it would help the homeschool family. And so there's a lot of decisions that go into every part of the planning, and as we map out courses. My years in customer service, I got to talk with homeschool moms every single day, and the feedback has just been fantastic. And so the first thing I do whenever I am assigned a new course to begin working on is I read every single all the feedback I get on Facebook every day, and I interact. I talk to our homeschool families because I want us all to work together to make this even better every year.
That is so fascinating, Sean. And I think homeschool parents, that is very comforting for them. And I noticed just in some pre recording notes that Tim sent me, he talked about how they always are listening to homeschool parents and what they want and what they value. So we just really, as a homeschooling community, we really appreciate that. So, what has been your favorite role so far in producing videos?
Oh boy, that's a very tough question. I've enjoyed and learned um, at each phase of it. My role as a teacher assistant, I enjoyed working with the teacher. If you get math 4 this year, you'll see some of my work on that. We had a lot of fun with the ocean theme and did a lot of fun creature features that the kids will love. So that was definitely fun. But I do enjoy my role as instructional designer because the biggest part of it is literally reading the feedback and surveys and all those things. The voice of the homeschool mom is critical in helping me do my job to make sure we produce material that meets those needs. So I really love reading that every single day and interacting with families every single day.
What you said is so important and I think vital to all of our missions at BJU Press Homeschool. And that is really to support moms and dads as they journey down this homeschooling road, because it can be a really lonely road to travel if you're by yourself. But knowing that there are teams of people dedicated to teaching our children well, supporting us as we want to teach our children, and also leaving us time for the just the important work of discipleship that goes on in our homeschools. That's so valuable. Thank you for sharing that. So let me ask one question, and Tim and Hannah, you both may want to answer parts of this. What are the basic processes you go through to produce each video? Like I say, it's been so surprising to me to sit through some of the presentations y'all have done, which are excellent, and tour the studios and realize this isn't somebody clicking on a camera and recording somebody and making a few edits and sending it out. It really is, like you said, Tim, a year-long process. So tell us a little bit about the basic processes you go through.
Well, I'll have to start out with this, that if you ever are in the Greenville, South Carolina area, that coming by for a tour, because we do give tours to our homeschool families as they come by, that does worlds. I mean, I'm glad that I can kind of describe this for people here on Facebook today. But wow, if you could come down here and really see what we do, we would love to show you around and give you a tour. But where the process all starts is with just deciding which courses are we going to do. We have about 10 to 12 teachers that work for us here, and they're doing different courses, but we have to decide which courses are going to be done this year and which ones are going to be done next year. And a large part of that, again, comes back to what are our homeschool families, homeschool moms and dads saying? What do they want to see us update? What do they want to see us do differently? And then we also, I got to put this shout out in there to the homeschool consultants, the homeworks consultants that work with Precept. They do a great job, and they give us very important feedback in all of this. So we take all of that information and that research, and we decide then, okay, we're going to do 5 courses this year, and these are the courses that we're going to do. So then we launch into a pre-planning time, and we go into and we dig deep into the content of that textbook. We look at, we have the instructional designers that Sean talked about, looking through the research, finding out what needs to be included in the course, what should we not put in the course as well. How can we make this easier for the families? And we take probably about 3 to 4 months sometimes in that whole process of deciding a course, in planning it out, and getting ready. Along the way.
Let me interrupt you just a minute, because I want to ask you this question. So
Sure.
if there's a video that a parent is really interested in having and it's not available yet, how would they give you that input?
Well, there's several different ways. They could call our customer service line, and they could ask about that. They're going to give us information from there. They can fill out surveys that we send out regularly, and please do fill out those surveys. That's one of the main ways that we can find out. They can mention to the homeworks consultants when they see them at conventions or at places. They can, email them, I think, in some cases. So there's all kinds of different ways that we get that information. And so that's the good part about it, is there's not just one way to send us information.
It's so incredible to me to be part of a company that's fairly large, but I have witnessed it from the inside out now, that there is such attention to the voices out there, in our case of the homeschool parents. And I really appreciate that. So while I've interrupted you, Tim, if people want to come in and take a tour, which I cannot recommend highly enough, I think I've been on it 3 or 4 times now, and I love it each time. I love to see how the props are made out of styrofoam that really look like stone walls. I mean, I love every part of it. How would they schedule a tour? And what if it's just their family? Do they need to have 5 families, or can it just be their family?
It can be just their family, and the best way to do that is to call BJU Press and ask to speak to someone in Press Digital. Our front door receptionist is often the person that receives that call, and they will schedule a tour. And it's best to schedule ahead of time, because as you can imagine, our teachers come and go with all the different responsibilities that they have. So it's not always a guarantee that all the teachers are going to be here. And so if you schedule ahead, we can plan for that, and we can tell the teachers in advance, hey, make sure that you're here because we have a tour coming through. So those are some good tips to remember.
That is fabulous. And several of the people who are listening have asked where we're located. We're in Greenville, South Carolina. But if you'll call customer service, they can give you all of those specific details. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now, if you can remember where we were, Tim, when I interrupted you, we were talking about the processes you go through in production.
Well, after we begin planning and getting the structure down, and sometimes myself, sometimes Sean, we're looking at the instructional design, and as Sean kind of already indicated, we really geek out on all of the facts and all of the research, and so we get going with that. But then the teacher is beginning to build their lessons, and that kind of starts coming together as we're talking about all these things. And we actually test drive some lessons before we ever actually fully record a lesson. We kind of, all right, plan out a lesson, teacher. We want you to look at this. We want you to try to incorporate everything that we've been talking about. And then you record a lesson for us. And that's just kind of a test drive. Then we come to a big time here in our building, and we call it launch, because we're about to launch this course and really get it under production. And with launch, we have a big meeting, a lot of people sitting in a room, and we try to iron out any details that may have been missed along the planning process. Then as we move past launch, then it's time to start writing lessons. And teachers will write probably as many as 5 scripts a week. They have to write a script, because not just because they don't know what they might be talking about. These are all experienced teachers who really know their content, but they have to be able to communicate with several other people in our offices here. And so they begin to write lessons, and they have an assistant that works alongside of them, who's making the PowerPoint illustrations, finding pictures for them, and finding objects for them to show on camera, all sorts of things to really enhance the lesson. And about that same time, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with this, the video segments are being made. And so I'll let Hannah talk about that in just a moment. Along the way, there's proofreading that goes on, and then they start recording lessons. And by this point, we're several weeks into this production. And then once they record a lesson, then it has to go through editing and quality control. And the whole process, 180 lessons for most courses. A few of them have 90 lessons, but most courses have 180 lessons. And it takes, like we said, about a year.
That is really amazing. Well, I just think moms and dads, you're out there listening, you should gain so much comfort and a feeling of support, knowing how much actually goes into these videos. Somebody said they love the games and the additional things that are added in. So we're going to let Hannah now. Hannah, let me just ask you this question, because we've established now that our video courses are not just a teacher standing in front of a classroom, or one student for that matter, but you've added so much innovation into that process. Can you tell us some of those components that make our videos so unique?
We have several things. And honestly, I'll tell you guys, I think I have the coolest job in the building. Not going to lie. Sorry, Tim, because I get to see all this fun stuff come to life. And it is awesome. We have an entire art department that creates the backdrops and the sets. So they're painting things, they're designing stuff for the teachers to use. And one of the main things that we love to bring on are props. So some of you guys may recognize these bananas. These are not real. These are completely made out of styrofoam. And all of them have been hand painted to look like regular bananas.
That's amazing.
Can anybody tell me what class this is from? I'm curious.
Anybody out there know, anybody listening know what the big bunch of bananas comes from? Okay, we're not getting anybody yet.
All right. They are featured in Science 2, which has a jungle theme. And so we have a monkey named Einstein who loves to eat his bananas. And so we designed a whole segment series that is the review game for each chapter around Einstein and all of his bananas that he loves to eat. So we will go out and buy props if we need those, but we often make them in-house as well.
We had, just so you know, we had several people who chimed in. It just posted a little bit late that knew it was either Science 1 or Science 2. So that's fun.
We also bring in a lot of special guests. Sometimes we will bring in children if we want to show how they can do activities, and just for this, like the students can. So we love to bring in children and show them, kind of do a modeling with that. We'll often bring in other adults and special experts, and we'll do interviews. But I know one of the most beloved things is when we have puppets show up. And so I do have a special friend with me today. This is Polly. She's the honeybee from Spelling 1. And so she often comes into lessons with Mrs. Lawson, and she helps the students with their spelling words. And she also has an animated friend, Nate the beekeeper, who helps her with the spelling words too. So they have a lot of fun, and they've got special buzzwords. So we play up the characters, whether it's hopscotch in K5 with all of his friends, or, I mean, puppets are a lot of fun. And we have special people who learned how to be puppeteers, and so they can bring all those characters to life, just like Polly. We also make a lot of those special segments that Tim and Zan, you both referred to. But it takes a ton of people. We have about 38 individuals who can work on segments from start to finish. And for each of our courses, we can make anywhere from 40 to over 100 videos that are special segments. Some of those are animated. Some of them have those special characters that are brought to life, whether they are puppets or animated. We also bring in actors, and we will do special segments on green screen, or we'll have a set. Sometimes we do period pieces where they're dressed up as a special character from historical times. We'll often bring lit selections to life through voiceover and special motion graphics. So we have script writers, graphic designers, we have animators, video producers, video specialists who film the classes and the segments. We've got makeup people, prop artists, set designers, and we even have an in-house composer who can make special music for us if we need to.
That is really amazing. And another thing you do that I saw in one of the videos I was watching is you have students talking to each other.
Yes.
And which I love that too. I just think that all of these things add such a rich dynamic to watching a video. It's really amazing. Well, can y'all think of anything else you want to share as we close? I know we've covered a lot of ground.
Well, maybe if people are not familiar, if someone's new is watching, with what courses do we have? We actually have every courses for every grade from K4 all the way up to 12th grade. And that includes our core subjects, which would be Bible, math, English, reading and literature, heritage, science, and spelling. And then we also have several foreign language courses. We have Spanish 1, 2, and 3. Now those are mostly for high school. And then we also have French 1 and 2, which would be just for the same group. We have other electives that we have, and all together we have 90 or more video courses that are available online. So there's a wide range of courses, and we would love to help out your family and just help your students learn by providing them this form of education.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Tim. And Hannah, thank you for all the creativity you have brought to the process and your team has brought to the process. We really appreciate all that you do.